for the
Oh, to get to there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sweet. I mean, we're gonna have this guy. If they can finish their prep in time for him, he wants to come over and set up some camera stuff himself.
Oh.
So, that's why.
So what title do I use?
So that's.
Is the title just this top?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And so whatever, we kind of use it there. And... Cool. And then yeah, of course, try to remember to put that extra light on.
It's that one right there? The one that's already on?
Yeah, the one that's on. assemble yourselves however you think is best. We've got three seats.
Do you want me in the middle?
And what the show is a total, it's 3 to 4, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Would it help if I helped? I think I got it.
I left my water glass. I'm gonna go run.
Okay.
run and grab it.
You running this prompter? The prompter?
That's not our equipment. That's Salem's equipment. When people pay to have shows on here, they'll charge them a premium. And they have fancy cameras, angles, and everything. Right now, we just have one camera angle here. They have fancy angles and lighting and everything.
So yours too?
That's
Trips is your Gatorade. Mm-hmm. So excited. All right. Let's sit down, get settled.
It's been a long time since I've been on radio. I think right
I've-
in college.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've
ever
been
done
on.
radio.
If I've been on since.
Oh yeah, guys, we're currently live, by the way.
Great.
All right.
It's my favorite words to hear.
So yeah, we're live for that over there.
Great.
And then
This is just going to be fun. I can't be like, now let's jump. It's Drew 2.
I just.
I
read-
can't wait. That's your district.
Yeah. So I'm like, sweet. I get my vote. Doesn't matter.
hey, wherever they're plugged in, that's just the volume.
Okay, cool.
Volume knob
Great.
for you.
Okay, thank you.
And then you want to talk nice and close to the mic, and bring the mic close to you,
Okay.
so wherever you're comfortable, with just leaning back or wherever you want to just
Yeah.
be.
Great.
Nice and close.
Okay, are we streaming? Yep. Alrighty, okay, we're on the live stream. I don't,
There we go.
we got 1 minute.
All right. Would anyone like water? More water?
All good.
I would.
Okay.
Here, take this. Is the camera rolling?
Transported 4 individuals to area hospitals. Right now, we're working with at least one is in critical condition, and the other 3 are.
Okay, you guys have headphones, mics, very close to the mic.
Yep.
Okay, now let's have fun.
Great. Let's do it.
And here,
Press Secretary Caroline Levitt says the days of the U.S. getting ripped off are over.
Too many foreign countries have their markets closed to our exports. This is fundamentally unfair. The lack of reciprocity contributes to our large and persistent annual trade.
Do you have an extra pen over there,
Yeah, I
Chaim?
was just about to.
Thank you so much.
Americans listening to Fox.
okay, here we go. Headsets, let's go. And your volume is where your wire plugs in? Okay, yeah, phones. Okay, here we go.
What do you want?
One of these.
Take whatever you want.
Welcome to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to us on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. And so happy to have you joining us on Government and Politics Tuesday. But you know what today is also? It's April Fool's Day.
What?
And it's Election Day
How fitting.
here in the Springs. So we figured we would do a combo show on all of this. Where am I hearing this sound back coming in here? Okay. Hey, no, it's coming through the live stream. So I'll mention our live stream. We're live streaming now on Facebook. We're at the Peak News Media on Facebook. We're also on YouTube at the Peak News Media. And I'm also running my own audio here.
Look at him.
Whereas, hey, can you send Zach in here to close the audio off on the live stream? Thanks. Hey, we're doing live radio here on on the Peak. And on the Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud, and we are fully a citizen journalist network. And what does that mean? Well, it's local people reporting on local stories, and we're supported by local businesses. And why are we doing this? Well, because the traditional media has absolutely failed us. And I think that we all realize that. I don't care where you are on the political spectrum, but they burned us out. They lied to us for way too many years.
Too much fake news.
Yeah. And so we have to do something. Okay. It's not like we're just going to say, you know what? We don't need accurate information anymore. Like we'll just have a free society without accurate information, without trust in the people who are supposed to be the truth tellers in our society. We can't do that. So rather than completely checking out, just like everything, we the people have to check back in. And so that's what we're doing here at the Peak. And we invite you to be part of it. That's also where we're different. Not only are we here to not lie to you, to not try to force a narrative, but we're here to invite you onto the platform. And actually last night, we just, we're going to have graduation in a little bit, but we finished up our first citizen journalist class. 12 students went through it over the month of March, training up people on how to do radio, how to tell stories, how to go out into our community. And our vision is that we would deputize hundreds, maybe even thousands of local journalists, because this is how we solve the problem. Why? Because when you have paid professional people, especially that are national and don't live in the community, they don't care. But we care. We have to care about our community, and we have to be involved in our community. And also, it's very hard to lie to your neighbors because eventually they're going to kick you out of town. You can't lie to people when they can verify the information because they were at that school board meeting or they saw that event or they're monitoring the same things. And so this is how we solve the problem. And this is how it's supposed to be done anyway. We've just lost our way. So as it's April Fool's Day, I decided, as you know, here on the Peak, we are news, we are news talk, but we're also, community, and we like to have a good time here. And so figuring it's April Fool's Day that we would bring comedy into the mix. And so we have as our guests here for April Fool's Day and Election Day, members of Oxymorons Comedy, an award-winning, clean and family-friendly, Christ-following, this is a mouthful, stand-up and improv comedy group.
Keep going.
Trip Uhalt, the director, Hunter Willis,
Hello.
And Samantha Davis Crocker. Welcome to the Peak News.
Thanks for having us, Chaim.
Okay, now be funny.
Oh,
no,
okay.
okay, yeah, I know I can't do that.
That's actually
But-
stand-up comedy, and a lot of people get that confused. So stand-up comedy, you've got a bit, you read it, you memorize it, you work down the timing, and improv is completely different. So we're not funny on the spot.
Speak for yourself, Hunter.
Thank you. As a scripted comedy, improv, you work off of one another, and you build what's called pressure, tension, and dynamic.
And so you do,
stage.
but you do both.
Yes.
You do. And,
Different people in a group do both. But most of us, we are improv. Whose line is it anyway? Kind of made on the spot. We take your suggestions because the news not funny enough.
Okay, and today on the program, we're taking the lighter side of things in our region. We're talking about comedy. We're also in the next segment going to be talking about the city council elections. And today is election day. So if you live in the Springs, please vote in your district and have your ballot in. Too late to mail it. Have your ballot in by 7 p.m. And if you haven't voted yet, go check out churchvoterguides.org. That's an organization I'm involved in, and we put out a voter guide where you can get informed, vote your values. We have all the information there directly from the candidates. You're listening to The Peak on AM 1460 and FM 101.1 The Answer. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. It's April Fool's and Election Day, and we're here with the Oxymoron Comedy Group.
Back in a flash.
Yes, we will be back after this quick break. Thanks for joining us.
Man, right there,
Cool.
right there on that guitar strum.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we're on segment 2. So you guys, you have 3 minutes or 4 minutes actually, and I'd like water, please.
4 minutes to
Okay.
What's
Okay.
the content you would like?
Is all this city council stuff.
Okay.
What's bumper dirty laundry?
That's
That's not for us.
Bumper is music. So
Great,
that's
okay.
the Don Henley Dirty Laundry
Ooh, great.
song. And
Choice.
yeah, we do rock and roll news here
I
because
like that. All news should
All
be
over our
rock and roll.
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook.
We just crossed 600
Oh, yeah?
followers on Facebook. So I don't
Okay.
know if you want to say that's why we're doing
No.
this giveaway. I don't know, but anyway.
no, actually that
Maybe
number's
it's
so low for me that I don't want to
Okay.
promote it. Yeah, I think we should have a lot more by now, but thank you.
Okay, but I can say a post.
But we can, but the Facebook people know.
Yeah, you guys already know. So I'll,
Did you focus us? Did you? Okay. And okay, so you have 3 minutes, so prep up and I'll let you guys go.
Do District 1.
Okay.
Oh, I have District 1. That's great.
By the way, if you bring up the devil guy, I'll tell a little bit, not the full backstory.
Sure.
but
No,
just
I would love
some
to
of
hear
it's
that.
Some of it's privy.
Do you guys want to go like district by district or just kind of talk generally first to kick us off?
Sure.
Which would be a lot of you guys talking.
You have one?
I have one, but you can grab it for me if there's something you want to look at.
Can you all see yourself on the camera? You're all in shot.
Yep. Yes, sir.
I have my near distance glasses.
Frank Christinger has withdrawn from the race.
He did.
District
Yeah,
2.
two of the candidates withdrew. But we got over 80%. There were only 3 of the active candidates decided to not be in the guide, which is it's good. We bugged the hell out of the candidates. They just keep calling and texting and showing up at forums. And
Do you want to jump in and talk about why Christopher Metzger
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
has
So
that
we'll
picture?
bring
if you
that up.
want to, you can bring.
I
bring up-
100%.
Who's the devil?
As the woman in the group, I would like to bring this up.
By the way,
And then you can add your color.
he's a very attractive, buff gay man, like a really masculine gay, like.
Yeah.
And he sent in his photo, but it had it had all kinds of graphics imposed and words, and we very specifically, you can't do that. No furry animals, no babies, just you, a headshot or a full body. And so I just tried to enforce the rules with him, and I even said the photo that's in that thing I can't use would be perfect. Just send me that.
Mm-hmm.
But he felt he was
maybe
being
he felt
persecuted. And he was
attacked,
and he was challenging whether we would do it. And I said, yeah, it follows if that's the way you want to represent yourself, and it follows the rules. It's you, So yeah.
And if we're going in a direction that you'd like to,
And we're back in
differently,
45. Yeah.
You just ask us a question. Say, well, how about this, or how about that? And
No,
just, don't be
I'd
afraid to
rather,
jump in.
especially with all of you, I'd just rather have you work off each other and sort of stay out of it. But I understand. Just obviously, you're already clean comedy group, so I don't have to tell you about that.
Right,
So no, I don't have any worries. I mean, it's live radio. Just make it good, make it entertaining.
Do you have a District 1 over there?
This
You got
is
an
one.
extra District 1? It's okay. You can just kind of leave it in front. I can see yours.
I know. Can't put Don Henley on it, expecting not to dance.
Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer, and today is Election Day and April Fool's Day here in the Springs. Election Day for City Council, and so as it's April Fool's Day, with that whole, Orson Welles killed that whole War of the Worlds thing, spoof thing. I haven't been able to really do that well on radio for about 70 or 80 years. But
aliens are attacking, but not from Mars.
Okay,
We're sending them all back home.
That's true. ICE is sending our aliens back. Well, we have members of Oxymorons Comedy, an award-winning, clean and family-friendly stand-up and improv comedy group with us. Here, group, not troop, I've been told. Here with us today. But first, here at the Peak, because we're local radio, we like to do events. And so we actually have a subdivision of what we're doing here called the Peak Events. And what we're doing in April is something that I've been doing for the past 3 years here in the Springs, which is a Passover Seder. I'm a Messianic Jew, and I love doing the Passover Seder within the church setting and everything about it, and really turn it into an event. So we're doing it this year at the amazing Pinery at the Hill downtown in Colorado Springs, and the owner of the Pinery, Mitchell Yellen, is also a Messianic Jew. So we're going to be co-leading this thing. But it's a traditional and non-traditional Jewish Seder, because obviously we bring Jesus into it, and we have worship and song and a lot of revelry and a full course meal with lamb and everything. It's an amazing meeting during the week of unleavened bread, not the night of Passover. It's Thursday, April 17th. 5:30 to 9 p.m. For more information and to register, and please do, because we have limited capacity there, and we're definitely going to be selling out. Go to thepeak.news. That's our website, thepeak.news/events, or just look for it on our homepage. Check it out and join us down there for Passover at the Pinery on April 17th. So
That's really, I got to say, Chaim, that's pretty amazing. If you guys haven't been to a Seder, you should definitely go.
It's a lot of fun. And
calorie-free, sugar-free, cholesterol-free.
Yeah, we'll see. None of that. Why would you want that? But no.
But plenty of Manischewitz.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, yes, and no leaven in the bread. So, city council election. This is your last time. It's just you got a few hours to vote. If you live in municipal Colorado Springs, you get to vote for one candidate in your district. You should have gotten your ballot a long time ago, and go to churchvoterguides.org if you still want to figure out which candidates to vote for, because we survey the candidates and put it in there. But I asked the Oxymoron Comedy Group to comment about our candidates. One, I will just say, equal opportunity offenders. Folks, remember what comedy is. And also, since this is a few hours before the end of the election, I don't think we can impact the election too much by what we're doing here. But what do you all? I gave you all copies of the surveys of the candidates. What do you think of these candidates?
Well, first of all,
and Trip Uhalt.
Keep in mind that we are not political science majors. We are comedians because we couldn't get jobs at Arby's. Okay, and anything we say may not reflect the expressions of Salem Communications and Peak News, endorsed by the NFL and without written
or
permission
Oxymorons,
of the NFL.
for that matter.
Oxymorons Comedy. So as far as city council and who is running, it's district one. Well, how many districts are there in town?
Six.
Like 7,
Six.
10,
Six.
That's what I said. Six. And I had the voter guide out, and by the way, wonderful job you did on putting it together. I was coloring in it, and
it makes great color sheets.
Excellent.
My toddlers loved it.
Thank you for that.
I got to tell you, with 6 districts, it's just enough for us to think we have representation, but large enough where our city councilmen and women don't have to know who we are. So it's kind of representation by, oh yeah, I've seen them before, not really somebody in the community.
Unless you see them on a bus bench or something.
Right. Or maybe their face on a bus bench.
Well,
I just see signs everywhere constly.
Right, yeah. Some in my yard. There should be a city council mandate, a voting mandate to get these signs up within a week of the election. Is what I think.
I think some of them like to come from behind, just shock you with like 87 in the same intersection. A week before voting.
There actually is officially within 3 days of the election. They're supposed to be down, or the city cleans them up.
All right.
Or the city comes by.
We don't need no stinking laws. Well, just remember, your city council people are there for you. They're not for them. They're here to represent, what we want. Bond issues and taxes and road construction and hey, here we are.
That's all we need is more construction.
Exactly. Hey,
that's what I want.
It's officially pothole season and spring, and I
don't think it's ever not pothole season if you live in Colorado Springs.
Well, I saw Samantha outside. She's a big horticulturist, and she was admiring how well the orange road cones have come up this year.
Yeah, they're blossoming. They're looking really good this year.
They're bloom, beautiful,
prolific. Is that a word?
Prolific.
Prolific.
You're close enough.
Close enough.
Again, why I'm a comedian. And
give you a C for effort.
Well, here we look at District 2. We, Tom Bailey and Frank Krissinger were running, and Frank, he folded. He threw down the cards. He's out.
I got to tell you, that's my district.
Yeah.
So I'm District 2, and I was excited because I got to pretend I was Richard Pryor and Brewster's Millions, where I could just vote for none of the above, and it didn't matter. my vote did not matter this election.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I got to say, this is like, if I'm voting for District 2, this is the easiest test I've ever taken.
Right.
Your option is vote or it doesn't matter because the choice has been made for you, which is great. We love that. We love an easy
quiz. All I can say is
quiz.
that he better get in, and he better do one heck of a job if he's getting a bye. If he's getting a mulligan on this, the way I play golf, oh my gosh, yeah. By the way, hey, how about this weather, huh? I went golfing just last week, almost got a hole in one. Chaim, you play, right?
No, I don't.
You don't? Oh, I thought you did. Well,
He heard you play, so he picked a different sport trip.
I missed it by 7 strokes.
Miniature. I do. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. I could have agreed with you on that one.
We'll go out and play some dinosaurs and windmills. And then, hey, District 3, they got everybody running, including the Prince of Darkness himself, Christopher Metzger. He's on the voting ballot along with Brandy Williams, Rick Gillett, Greg Thornton, and
Mariah Lauer.
And why do you say that about him?
Yeah.
well, he has a picture here on the voting guide that he looks like he could be the front man for Black Sabbath. He's got horns and everything else.
That's really interesting.
What's up?
We want all the candidates to have a photo in the guide so people can know what they look like. But we've learned over the years, because we've been doing it for 4 years, that we have to just have it be the candidate. No children, furry animals, no promotional words, materials. So the image that he sent in didn't have that. And when we asked him to correct it, he got a little upset about it, and I assured him that we were treating him as fairly as anybody else. And he is admittedly, it says in there that he's, in the end, I believe he's an atheist. It says when it talks about his relationship with the faith community, which is one of the questions that we ask in church voter guides. And so he said, would you run this picture? And I said, well, it fits our rules. And I didn't know that it was the best look for him. I've seen him regular. He's a good-looking guy, but he's got the horns. He's got everything.
So, yeah.
If you're in which district is that? 3?
That's 3. Yeah.
So you can vote, for someone who likes to dress up as the Prince of Darkness in there, and that was his option. As long as you follow the rules, we in the guide we put in typos, everything, whatever the candidate sent us, as long as it is uniform to the rules.
So if you want to see this beautiful image that we're all describing, that's on churchvoterguides.org.
Yeah.
And District 3, you'll see this dazzling photo right here.
A handsome man, nonetheless, but that's not what gets stuff done at the city level. And then
hopefully not.
Hopefully not. No, hopefully he's.
So we got less than a minute left. Any other candidates that you've picked out in here?
Well, I just, again, need to stress that they need to work for you. They need to be accessible. They need to be in touch with the community, not in touch with themselves. And we're seeing, what's going on at the national level as we're cutting government and slicing programs that don't need to be there. And we're getting money back to the voters, to the constituents, to America, to the general population. And a lot of people are kind of up in arms. They think that things are going the wrong way. Personally, I don't. And so here comes the music. They're playing me off. I'd like to thank Mom and Dad and everybody that's associated with this Academy Award and God himself. And back to you, Chaim.
Okay. Thank you, Trip. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to the Peak News on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The answer today is Election Day in Colorado Springs, as well as April Fool's Day. And when we come back, we'll be talking more with the Oxymorons comedy.
Man, right there on that, sting.
3.5 minutes.
And next feature is
top election issues. You'll have about 4 minutes to go after different election issues. If you want to reference that sheet that I had, this thing, because these are what we asked in the guide. So these are what we determined, but you don't have to stick with that. But
do I have that sheet? You got an extra one, Hunter?
Yep, right there.
I don't
Oh, no,
it's
that's
not
yours.
necessarily extra. But
Samantha, if you
Here,
could
do you want
set
to
yours
share with me?
between us, we can share.
thank you, my Salem email? Question mark. So we are on, segment 3 title ended up at the bottom of page 2. So we're on the thing that says bumper on the border, but it's actually not on the border. That's a leftover. This is the Eurythmics, Would I Lie to You? So,
When I lie to
yeah.
you, honey. Well.
Okay.
Hunter, you got any there that you're liking?
Back in a minute and a half.
I can riff on anything. With housing, the IUDs. Is that right? Is that what it's called? No.
What?
IDUs?
I don't know.
IUDs.
I don't know what IUDs is. I know what IUDs is.
It's an independent dwelling unit. So like putting like a cabin, like a little apartment in your backyard or something.
Interesting.
By the way, the argument with Chris Metzger got played out on Facebook because he decided to complain on Facebook that he was being persecuted as a gay man. So this isn't like internal. He played it out. Look at the crap I have to put up with by being a gay man, and that Church Voter Guides was hassling him because he was gay. I was just hassling him because he broke the stated written rules that we hold every candidate to.
Well, we've incentivized rape.
Yeah.
And so
actually, that rule came about because of Dave Williams, because he sent me a picture with Trump where he's, like this with Trump. And I was like,
no,
we can't do it. And
I think it's a good rule.
And, because I want to see you. It's not a promotional piece. Everything else is promotional.
Yeah. Gosh,
and he didn't like that. We went back and forth. And so we made this, we've had to enforce that. But learn stuff over time. Okay, we're back.
Every chance we get.
Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to us on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. And today's April Fool's Day and Election Day, and here in the Springs for City Council. And we have members of the Oxymorons comedy group here. And in this section, we're going to talk about what are the top election issues here in the Springs for those who are voting. What should they be thinking about? Tripp, we want to start with you.
Well, thanks, Chaim. Hey, listen, everything's costing an arm and a leg. We do some raffles at our shows, and one of the last shows we even did a silent auction. I just grabbed a 12-pack of eggs. They went for $27, but it did go to a charity, so that was good. But the utilities and infrastructure. Oh my gosh, heaven forbid that you water your grass or wash your car, and then heat the house. I mean, utility bills are skyrocketing. They're trying to put renewable energy in with solar. I see it on more and more housetops and then those big windmills and things like that. And, when's it going to end? And, when are we going to start getting some relief there? It's just going crazy.
Samantha?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm really interested in how these candidates are planning to manage growth of our city. I am a transplant myself. I moved here in 2020. And, I know, right.
Get out.
Go back where you came from. We don't want you here. But man, you just see, even in that.
I just say we're closed. Colorado's where we're closed.
Can we get a closed sign on our city, please?
Now that we're here,
secret. Right? I'm here, so
right,
now we can
I'm here 2018, so I beat you.
But man, I mean, like, our infrastructure just can't handle it. So how are they going to address that?
I'll get on I-25 between like 6 in the morning and 9 in the morning, or 3 and 6 at night. Oh my gosh, the highway just can't even support the infrastructure.
No, it certainly can't. And I came from New York, and before that Houston, so we know. I've seen infrastructure done a lot of ways. I'd like to see what it looks like.
Do your New York complaining lady.
Oh no, she might show up later.
Hunter, show.
Yeah. So honestly, my biggest issue has been the issue for 20 years, and that's it's too many stinking red lights in a row. It could be 9 o'clock.
The timing of the lights.
Timing of the lights. It could be 9 o'clock at night. Could be 9 a.m. in the morning. 9 times out of 10, I'm hitting 2, 3, 4, 4 lights in a row. I've said this for years that I think I could win a city council seat on one issue where my tagline is, vote for Hunter, don't break till Briargate. So if you're going up, up Academy, from, I'll give these guys a break, from Austin Bluffs to Academy, no lights, like time the lights. I think I could win. I think I could be your next.
We
city
might be talking about
councilman
you next time
for District 2.
I'm just glad to know it's not just me. Some people have spiritual gifts of mercy and a prophecy. I have the spiritual gift of catching red
Impatience?
lights.
Catching red lights. Oh,
Oh
for
my
sure.
gosh.
Oh, mercy.
Okay, what else? What other issues do you think the
speaking
voters
of
should be-
growth, housing, there's so much built. I mean, I don't even know. There's so much housing going up.
I'm
and
super
constantly. It's
concerned about
everywhere.
all the apartments that are going up. I mean, in 10, 15 years, this place is going to look like a
I
slum.
know.
It's, oh my gosh, it's just, I mean, you look at like downtown Thailand and the buildings just go up. And I mean, we just got transitory housing in the way of apartments just everywhere. We need to get people into, home ownership and equity and building out and, increasing the budgets that people have rather than just being so transitory. Granted, we have military here, but
It's a supply and demand issue largely. I
100%.
think it's, you can't build houses, single family homes fast
As
enough.
quickly, and it takes up
As
more
quickly.
space.
Yeah, it takes up more space. And people are delaying marriage, and so we've got more people staying single. So that's instead of combining in one home, now you need 2 homes, whether it's 2 apartments. For some reason, kids aren't having roommates anymore. When I was a kid and in my 20s, I had a roommate all the time. And now everyone's like, oh, I don't want a roommate. I want to live by myself and spend half my paycheck.
Well, people talk about losing the character of the Springs, like it's just going to be another Denver or what, a generic city. What do you think is as you you watch humanity? What is the character of the Springs?
it's a big little city.
Agreed.
And it just sprawls out everywhere. And we're heading east, we're heading north. We got the wonderful Rocky Mountains to keep us.
We
on the left side, on the west side. But it's not going to be long. I remember when my next door neighbor a number of years ago moved out to the end of Woodman on Meridian Road so he could get a cheap house. And now everybody's out there.
Right now, it's the center of town.
Yeah.
I'm Chaim Goldman, The Watchman. You're listening to The Peak. It's April Fool's Day and Election Day, and we're sharing it with the Oxymorons comedy group. When we come back, we're going to be talking about comedy. Stick around. We'll be right back after the short news break.
Is that you?
This is just 2 minutes.
Chaim.
This is 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So we're on segment 4. So if you want to see the questions. So don't normally, it moves quick. And it's usually every segment is a different communication form.
So when you
it
say
keeps
comedy,
moving.
what do you want to talk about here?
Well, if you see the questions on segment 4. So because there's 3 guests, obviously, we have a third of the time for everybody. So you have to move, answer the questions quickly. So first I'll say each of your names and ask you how you got into comedy. So that's probably about 30 seconds, 45 seconds each to go through that, and then the rest just get in a good flow. Don't
and we don't have to
improv on it. Keep passing it back and forth. Yeah.
And then where did you want to do the improv bit?
That's the next segment. That's the final segment into the rant.
Did you want to do something like they could hear it on? Do you want to do like a lecture?
I think you're.
I mean, I don't know how well it.
Well, that's
translates
sort of
over.
more. That feels like more performing versus coaching and teaching. Like, I think it's cool. Of like, hey, here's what improv is. Here's how you can do it right now.
But I
We'll
think
give you a couple quick
didn't you
tips
want
that
to
you
do
can
a
use
bit?
every day.
You could. I mean, you're going
Or
to
did
have
you wanna
you're
teach it?
going to have about 4 minutes of content. So if you wanted to spend a minute actually giving an example of it, but I don't know. I mean, where do you? But I just.
We still have a break to talk about it.
Yeah. Yes, we do. So this is the longest segment. It's 12 minutes total, and then after that.
Did you want to go through question by question in this?
Yeah,
You'll
I
introduce
try.
us
I try. Yes. So make sure it comes back to me. So that's why we'll have about
and just jump in if you think
2 to
we've been
3.
talking
Well, you'll
long.
see me do a wrap up if
Okay.
I want it back. Okay, we're back. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer on the Salem Network here in Colorado Springs. And I want to do a general shout out to all of our sponsors as we start a new month here, April, at the Peak. We're so thankful for those who support us through their businesses. And one of the big problems that happened in media is it got bought and paid for by the advertisers. The business department got way too close to the editorial department and then took it over. And so that was something that I, confront here. But the great thing is it's all small business owners here locally. They care about the community. They want us to say the quiet stuff out loud as we do. And nobody is giving us so much money that, we wouldn't say bye-bye to them if we had to confront that over reporting the news. And that's a really important part of taking the media back, is that we don't make the same mistakes again, although as humans, we tend to do that over and over again. So we're here on Government and Politics Tuesday, where it is Election Day here, Colorado Springs City Council election. It also happens to be April 1st, April Fool's Day, as ironic as that might be. And so we're sharing the hour with the Oxymorons comedy group, Trip Uhalt director, Hunter Willis, and Samantha Davis Crocker. So let me start with Hunter. How did you get involved in comedy? How'd you get into this?
Yeah, so 2004, some friends and I started, at that time, the only improv comedy group in Colorado Springs called Stick Horses and Pants. And we were in church. It was the young adult group. And literally it was, hey, we should do some improv comedy. Oh, you mean like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Yeah, exactly. Oh, that sounds like fun. And we got a couple of friends together and we read some books. We took some classes at an improv club in Denver. And that was 21 years ago, and the Stick Horses are still around. I'm no longer part of the group. Actually, all the original members are gone. But the Stick Horses are still around, and they've got their own theater now at Academy in North Carefree, which was the dream back then.
Okay. Samantha Davis Crocker, how'd you get into comedy?
I don't think I did. They just keep throwing me on stage every month and saying, have fun, and I'm doing it. So, no, I was a theater kid in high school. So I have a special place in my heart for theater kids, just the weird, quirky, creative kids. And so through Comedy Sports with a Z is a national improv comedy group. Super great. There's a group closest here would be one in Denver. And they had a really strong presence in Houston where I grew up. And so they just, they wanted to fill their pipeline of incoming talent. So they started reaching out and making groups in the high school league. And so I was a high schooler and I got incredible improv training. And I didn't even realize how great it was until later I moved to New York and started going to a lot of these places just for fun. And then really hadn't done it in 15 years. I don't know how long it was. And then I met this guy named Trip, and he just would not let it go.
That's Trip.
And my husband's in the group as well with Oxymorons. And so he just kept badgering us like, man, you're making me laugh. You have to come to our group. And so really, I was either going to file a lawsuit or join the group. And so I just decided to join instead. And it's been fun ever since. So I've been in the group now. What has it been, like a year?
It was that or selling you extended car service warranty on your
Yeah,
vehicle.
I mean, he had to pick one or the other.
Trip Uhalt.
Hey, I long before these folks were born, I was working at Jeff Valdez Comedy Corner doing stand up back in it was the 80s, and it was a good time. I was doing stand up, working opening for Judy Tenuta, Sinbad, Sam Kinison when he was still alive, and Pat Paulson, Paula Poundstone, a number of others. And the club owner, Jeff Valdez, who a lot of the audience will probably remember, he said, hey, let's start this improv thing. We didn't know what it was. I said, well, you just like talk about stuff and you never deny anybody. And we said, oh, okay, we can do that. Does it pay? And I said, yeah. And so we started to train with a guy out of Denver, Jeff Harms, and within about 6 weeks, we were doing our own show, and we became the House Improv Group, doing improv every Tuesday night with a great bunch of folks, and it just took off. That was the Union Boulevard of regulars, and then I went off to college, got a real job, and then the bug bit me here in 2014. I was with another group, and we had a difference of opinion, and I wanted to start a faith-based Christian group performing everywhere that Jesus might have gone. I call us a bunch of ministers with a comedy problem, and we show people that our God is not just the God of thou shalt nots, but also the God of joy, love, grace, forgiveness, and salvation through his son Jesus. And
Amen.
that's how we do it.
So, comedy, a lot of it is about shock value, about people getting stunned by something, and doing clean comedy tends to not be as easy. So in choosing to do clean comedy, what are the challenges of writing comedy or doing improv comedy when you can't add that profanity shock value or indecency?
Funny you would say that. We actually have a bit that involves shock collars, and Samantha hates it. But
It's funny, though.
if we say the wrong thing, and I got to apologize to my dog. But no, it's a great question. I actually really enjoy the challenge, because all the bad words are in there, and being a victim and a part of society, we see what is on TV and what goes through, and it's just becomes a challenge to not say the bad words, to not do the shocking thing, and it really makes it fun and very rewarding knowing that you're standing up there listening to the thunderous applaud of a crowd at Boot Barn Hall, or now the Ford Theater. We've packed the Flying W Ranch to overflowing to 600 people, and to hear that kind of thunderous applause over clean jokes, it's honoring God. Again, we're just living to our mission to showing the people what the joy of the Lord is all about.
Yeah, I mean, it's really refreshing too. Whenever people are looking for a fun night out, I can safely invite them to an Oxymorons show and know that we're going to get a really great feedback from them afterwards. And it's because of that clean element. We know that they can bring their middle school kids or their grandmother with them and not be embarrassed 5 seconds in, like I'm sure many of us have been before in going to seeing comedy live when you really don't know what's gonna happen. So we make it a point to push past the easy, cheap laugh and instead go for, how can this be quality and engaging and fun no matter who is sitting in the audience?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth with it being cheap laughs. It's it's really easy to just to go to the blue side or to the bad word side and get that cheap easy laugh. But with improv, you really want to start building something out because you don't know where it's going. So you want to have a lot of prongs, a lot of branches on this tree that you can use to be funny. And so that clean element makes it a lot more challenging, but a lot more fun.
Can people learn to be funny, and if so, how?
Yes.
No. They're doomed for all of eternity, and only the people with the comedic gene can. No, absolutely, they can. Well, I don't know. What do you think, Trip?
Well, I want to jump in because I've done some improv training. I've taught classes before.
I was going to say that. I was going to pitch you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I would say that the biggest thing you need is not worrying about what others think to the point where you're paralyzed. And so if you're willing to go out there and say something off the wall, respond to whatever has already been said, and respond, it's going to go somewhere because you are not in charge of being funny yourself. It's not stand-up comedy. You've got a team, and so you're all tossing gifts to one another. And when you do that, the comedy builds, and everyone can do it as long as they have those dropped inhibitions.
Yeah. I think to piggyback on what you're saying too, comedy is born from a very, very small seed of confidence. And I think people generally confidence is like this really scary thing. But if you just have as tiny as a mustard seed, really, just a little bit, and that grows over time when you start testing it. You start being vulnerable. You start just saying the crazy thing that's on your mind, and that's also it's not only the birthplace of comedy, but it's also the birthplace of connection and relationships too.
So, Trip, tell us about Oxymorons. You started this group. Why did you do it, and what will people experience when they come to your shows?
As I said, I was in another group, and we had performed at a bar. Previously to that, we were performing in churches, and we performed at a bar, and the people who ran that didn't like the bar idea. And I said, well, what a better place for Jesus to be than in the belly of the beast. He ate with the tax collectors and the sinners and such. And so, let's bring clean comedy to a group of people that probably aren't expecting it. And we've been voted Best of the Springs every year since we were came into existence in 2019, silver gold. And so we bring that to the audiences. And, I wanted to stretch out, past where we are to audience who might not get that opportunity. And we do have a show coming up.
Yeah,
on
tell us
April
about
12th.
that. Yeah.
We have a show coming up on April 12th, and the shows are typically an hour and a half. And like Hunter was saying, with the Stick Horses, they have a theater called the Peak Improv Theater at the corner of North Carefree and Academy in the Bingo Building, back behind Wade's Cafe. And the show's April 12th at 7 o'clock. You can go to oxymoronscomedy.com and you can see everything that we have coming up. And every show that we do, we give away some door prizes. So I'm the marketing manager at Cave of the Winds. And so a guy. And so I give away some free cool passes to cave tours and spelunking and things like that. So you could win something. And then we also have silent auctions where a lot of the proceeds from the show will actually go to support charities. We've supported the Springs Rescue Mission, Karen Share, Human Trafficking Task Force. There's an orphanage in Uganda that's received money. We do almost $10,000 a year in donations to Christian charities.
Well, we're giving away a pair of tickets to this show on April 12th. That's in the Springs of Oxymorons Comedy Group, and you can win that. We're going to give away a pair each day from today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the Peak. Go to thepeak.news. It's right there on our homepage. There's a form to fill out, and we'll be doing a drawing every day. So let us know that you're out there, folks, that you like comedy, and win a pair of tickets to go to the show on April 12th. Trip, we just have about 30 seconds left in this segment. Final comments on being a comedian.
It's so rewarding, and you asked earlier, can you be funny, and just practicing comedy all the time, and not even practicing. I mean, how many of us know the guy that's always cracking dad jokes and always has something quippy and witty to say? It's just pervasive, and it just makes even the business environment such a so much more of a favorable place to work and interact with people that are fun to be around.
Okay, when we come back here on the Peak on April Fool's Day, we're going to be doing a little improv comedy workshop with the Oxymorons. We'll be right back. Cool.
Great.
Okay, we got 3 minutes break, and then this is, so in structuring this out so we can give... So I'm usually Jim does his own close, but I'm gonna take it back and do that. So I'll give you time cues on that. I'll give you like 1 minute left and 30 seconds on that. When I want you out, when you hear the music, we got to basically be done on that. So I'll make sure to have time to throw to you for about a 2 minute rant on something.
We want to rant about something.
Well, we always finish with a rant. So
comedic wise, or
it doesn't matter.
I don't know. You want to pick a topic and just go off on it?
You guys got a topic you want to rant about?
I'm excited about the improv workshop personally, and that's a separate segment.
Right.
Improv workshop, and then
we go into the rant.
It
goes right into it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll throw it. I'll take it back
He'll
and
transition us.
Yeah.
I was sort of thinking you and I could even do the improv workshop potentially. Just talk about like principles, what makes it successful, how people can adopt this in everyday life, in workplace. Talk about yes and talk about collaboration. Anything else? I mean, those are two things that are going to be
collaboration, teamwork.
You want to do like a yes and do a short lecture, like we get give us a.
He really wants to do lecture.
Give us the history.
You're not excited about lecture.
Yeah. What's that?
Whatever you want to do, Trip.
Just show them how it works.
It's only, I don't know. What would be?
You have something else that's
no, but I think it's a great idea.
All right.
Of doing...
So do you want to clap? And so Hunter, you give us something you've always wanted, the history of radio. And so I want you guys to talk about the history of radio. Okay, so what's going to happen is Samantha will clap and we will stop mid-sentence, and the yes-anding will see the other person pick up on the sentence, the thought, even the middle of the word, and carry on in a different direction. We'll just go really fast.
We'll just do like sort of what are the rules and structure of improv comedy, and you can go off on that, and then I'll say,
and then we'll do it.
Okay, and then we'll say, let's do a bit, and I'll throw out history of radio.
Well,
and just look for my time cues so I can get out in time to throw to the rant.
Okay. So improv workshop, do a little example that you're transition to you. Do a
as
little
part of the
example
workshop.
Of part of the workshop of history. You guys will be lecturing, and then I'm just going to clap you up. Yeah. Okay. And then
I'll throw to the rant, and as soon as I need to say goodbye to you at the end of this segment. So that's why I need us to land the plane with that 30 seconds left, so I can say all of you and thank you and promote the show again and have that full 30 seconds. So,
Great.
So Trip, I'll give you a 1 minute and a 30 second to finish.
you want me to do the
of the rant? Or who's doing the rant?
Hunter's gonna do
I've
the
got.
rant.
Okay, I need to know because we're back in 10 seconds. You're doing the rant?
I'll do the rant.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So you're going to count us in? You're going to count us into the lecture?
No,
The
it'll
lecture
just
demo?
be part of the.
And that's 5 minutes.
Well, we have a total of 5.
Okay.
You know.
5 minutes
So-
for that segment. I can help guide.
So let's try. Let's go into the lecture at 2.
Okay. Welcome back to the Peak. This is our April Fool's Day show, and we're spending it with the Oxymorons comedy group, local comedy group, clean comedy group, Trip Uhalt, Hunter Willis, and Samantha Davis Crocker. And in this final, we have a rant. Actually, we're gonna have Hunter's going to take over from Jim Miller, just a guy, and do a rant. But I want to do a little improv comedy workshop here and an example of that. So what are the rules? What are the structure to a group of people coming together and doing improv?
Yeah.
Who's going?
Improv has a few basic rules that I'm sure you're aware of, but Samantha, you got some real specific. You and Hunter, go
Sure.
ahead.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is that people are like, "Wait, how do you rehearse? How do you practice improv?" It's like, well, do basketball teams practice and then show up at the? Yes, absolutely. So there's a few rules, there's a few guideposts that really help provide structure to the chaos so that it actually makes sense and you can enjoy what you're watching. And these principles that we're going to share with you right now, you can actually adopt in your workplace, in your everyday. Use them today with
Marriage.
Yeah, I mean, we're all improving constantly. So, the first big one you've probably heard, and that's yes and.
Yes, and.
So, what does that mean, Hunter? What's yes and?
So yes, and is being in agreement with your partner. So if the partner says, "Hey, you've got a pretty red sweater on,"
Thank you so much. I just got this at Kohl's. Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing, and it's all imaginary. So I'm now wearing a red sweater, and so then we build off of that. And so it's just building agreement with that, because it's really easy to be like, "Oh, it's not red, it's pink,"
So what happens when that happens? When someone, because that like shuts down improv,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Disagreement.
If someone denies a statement, then it's very awkward for the audience, but it ends things. You want to constantly build on what one another is saying. So we're all building off each other's ideas. And another way you can do that to collaborate is, instead of asking a question to someone, Trip, where are we going?
We're going to Pueblo. I hear it's wonderful this time of year. You make it a definitive statement.
And by making definitive statements, and then I can comment on top of that, it just keeps the scene moving. It keeps your story, because we're building a story live right before your
Samantha,
eyes.
that red sweater that you're wearing, that's not going to work at all at the reservoir.
Well, I know all the holes in it that I just got from the moths.
Those
in
those are bullet holes.
Well, I do live in Pueblo, so you can't count me that. Count that against me.
Yeah, and so that was an example of some denying where Samantha talked about being moths, and Trip's like, no, it's it's bullet holes, and so kind of meanders when it's that way. It's not very clean, clean and flowing. It makes it kind of choppy.
Sorry, any other rule real quick, and then we're going to do we're going to throw out a topic.
Yeah, let's jump in. So what we'll do in a show is we'll ask the audience for suggestions. And Chaim, give us something that you've always wanted to know the history of.
Yeah, well, here, radio, because that's what we're here.
All
We're
right,
here on the
history
radio.
of radio. So what we're going to do now is, this is one of the staples of lecture. It's called, improv. It's called lecture. And Samantha is going to be clapping from behind us, and she might clap in the middle of a thought, in the middle of a sentence, in the middle of a word, and it will take off in a new direction by Hunter, who's going to be yes-anding me, and then I will yes-and him. So
and Trip, it's important to point out that this is not an actual history. This is the absurd history.
I think they'll figure that out.
We got about 1 minute.
All right, the history of radio.
So Gronk was looking out across the Pangean wilderness, and he saw a giant T-Rex, and the T-Rex crawled up to him, and he
roared. And Gronk said, this is pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chop off this tail, and I'm going to start shouting into the tail so my voice can be
amplified, and it would move on through the ages, because Gronk didn't survive the T-Rex. So then Gronk didn't survive, but his legacy lived on, and it lived on into the Greeks, and the Greeks really picked up Gronk's. So, and he wanted to look at Dionysus, and Dionysus said, "Hey, I want everybody to see this body," but it was
way too small.
And so they made a statue of him, which was gargantuan,
and looked like it was made of
alabaster. And
there we go. Yeah, so that's That's kind of how
That's
that.
kinda how lecture
Now,
works.
now I want to say this: that why doing this on radio is so much more difficult. You have no audience to feed off of, and you're used to that.
I'm laughing
And-
at myself.
and- okay.
I treasure my own company, Chaim.
Okay. Well, at this point in the program, we usually have Jim Miller and the Peak Rants, but since I have you on the program today, and Hunter has decided to do it, Hunter, we're going to ask you to do a 2-minute rant on some subject that you pick. So, what's the subject?
So I'm gonna call it voluntary victimhood or complaining.
Okay, go.
And so this really grinds my gears. And it's, we see this a lot in elections. We see this all over social media. So as awesome as social media is, and I remember back in the old days when Facebook, you had to have a college account to be on Facebook. You could connect with friends. You talked about your kids. You talked about what you were doing. And it was a lot of fun. But what it has turned into and what makes it so dangerous is, and I've got young kids at home, and none of them are on social media, and they don't even have phones. But it's become, who can I make angry? What can I complain about? And what can I do in order to get affirmations? And so it could be they didn't like my picture, and it's not that I didn't follow the rules. It's oh, they don't like the way I look or the way I think or what I'm about. So it could be that. It could be I don't like potato salad, or whatever it might be. And we get all
Teslas.
of these. Yeah, we don't like Teslas, which is a completely another topic. It's like, oh, it's fascism, and so in order to fight fascism, we're going to make you scared to speak, so we're going to embrace totalitarianism, and it's just
Good word.
It is nuts, like just how angry everybody is, and how that, and unfortunately that's what gets likes and interactions, and it's what makes things grow, and so I would love to get to a point where we have a social media platform or a public platform where we just talk about how great things are, and look for the good. There's always bad. You can always find the bad, but really look for the good. And that's something I do with my kids is we have gratitude journals, and it's lovely. It's think about what you really like and what you appreciate.
Problem solution. Well done.
Well, that's a Peak Rants with Hunter Willis. That's a new one here. Thank you to the Oxymorons comedy group being here on the Peak. Trip Uhalt director Hunter Willis and Samantha Davis Crocker. Thanks so much for being on the Peak.
Thank you.
For everything
Appreciate it.
Oxymorons, go to oxymoronscomedy.com. And to win tickets to their show that's coming up on April 12th, go to our website, thepeak.news. We'll be right back. Cool. I just have a short close and then we're done.
All right. And do you have another?
Thank you.
You got another show right after this?
I don't, but I think I have a meeting scheduled maybe at
we'll clear out,
4:15.
but-
Yeah. No, not today. On
Thursday.
Wednesdays, I go right into
It just felt
Partners in the Gospel on our Bible teaching station.
That's what I thought.
And it worked out that I made Wednesdays our Faith and Family Day on the Peak. So very often it's the same guest. And there's a 10-second lapse between the shows, but we flip it, but it's a different audience. It moves from a news talk to a Christian.
I love your
Audience.
station. I when last time we met, I've been listening to 101, and I just love it, man. I just really been hanging on.
Yeah, they're good. The hosts are really good. But the only thing is it's national, so they can't do anything local. So that's where we come in.
Right.
And we're hoping as we develop more talent through citizen journalists, and I'm having people guest host like Tammy did, Finding Talent, and then we can buy more airtime and because really the best format is local and national, a mixture of it. But economies of scale in radio right now, it's just so much more to have a national host who can broadcast from anywhere, and it's across the whole network, and then they sell it nationally. But then you don't have any local. So that was my vision years ago before I came to Salem, was to do a hyper local show, and then I came here to work, and finally about a year after I got here, we finally launched this back in January of 24, and
I'll be listening to more.
Thanks.
so
And we're here, and we got ahead of this curve of the media collapsing in front of everybody's eyes, and so we're we already had pre-thought what's the new model, and we were moving toward it. So it's looking like this is what it's going to be, some combo of advertiser supported, maybe user content supported, paywall stuff, and grants looking for nonprofit stuff because there's not just the money is spread. There's so many platforms now that it's not like when there were 3 stations or whatever, and you had to advertise on them and that was it. So having the big budget stuff, and we're seeing all of these stations that are cutting stuff, it's just not there anymore. But so what are we going to do? How are we going to replace it? I figure people want platform. It's this hybrid between influencers who know they can go on and they want to talk, but it's not about likes. It's about serving the community. So we're bringing a level of professionalism, but you don't need a 4-year journalism degree to do journalism. I mean, you can teach people it in a relatively short amount of time and then go practice it. Because what is it? I mean, we're trying to even figure out what is journalism. You know, how does it work? You know, because it's a lost art.
I teach it.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Peak. Hope you enjoyed this and you're having fun on this April Fool's Day, and also that you went out and voted, or if you haven't already, make sure to mark your ballot if you're in municipal Colorado Springs and drop it off at one of the many drop boxes. Folks, we can't check out. I know we feel like it, but I think there are problems with the elections too. And yet I put out a voter guide because we have to be involved in our community in some way. And so I would invite you to at least vote, but also in those years between the elections, get involved and do something. And if you like media and you want to join us here on the platform, go to thepeak.news. And join us as a citizen journalist or as a tech, as an intern if you're a young person, or a sponsor. We really do love our sponsors, especially on the first of the month when I got to cut another check to Salem. Want to promote, because we're doing a peak event, something I love doing as a person who's Jewish and also believes in Jesus, or as I call him, Yeshua. We're doing a Passover Seder, a Messianic Passover Seder on April 17th, not on the night of the Passover, but during the days of unleavened bread. Thursday, April 17th is going to be at the wonderful Pinery at the Hill downtown, 5:30 to 9 p.m. For more information and to register, make sure to register. We've been doing this for years. We always sell out, and we have to register by April 10th. So go on thepeak.news/events for more information. What are we doing tomorrow? Well, it's Faith and Family Wednesday, and we have David Jones. He's a United Church of God pastor in Colorado Springs and other cities in Colorado. And we're going to be talking about the upcoming holy times of Easter and Passover and how they are both significant to Christians today, and maybe to you, even if you're not a Christian, because it's really cool to look at the history of these things. Coming up next is Larry Elder's show here on AM 1460. The Answer. Check out our 200-plus podcast on thepeak.news. The Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud for such a time as this. Shalom, and have fun on this April Fool's Day. We'll see you tomorrow. And we're out. Cool.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My first question, whenever he said, Chaim Goldberg is your last name, right?
Man.
Goldman. Okay, but I thought to myself, well, I've never heard a more Jewish name, so I'm going to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
And then you outed yourself as a Messianic Jew, which is just my favorite type of person. So I'm delighted, and I will definitely be looking at. This is probably yours, but any chance I could take this?
Yeah, please. No, I got,
Okay.
that's promotional. I'll give you 100 if you want.
Oh, wonderful.
Take it to your pastor.
I will. Our church is small, so I will text it to them.
Okay.
But no, this is great. We were going to travel to our friends in New York for Passover. We usually spend Passover